Good morning, everyone. So again, this is our second day for our topic discussion regarding the advanced reading skills. This is just a continuation from our topic last Monday. So now we will be going in our still part of our visual literacy interpreting diagrams and charts, and I think we are on our last part of discussing regarding the charts. So the last type of charts that we need to discuss is about this sailing charts. So here, sailing charts are the large-scale navigational maps. So they are designed for planning and plotting a course during the long sea voyage, providing the broad overview of an area with a limited detail, but showing principal lights, buoys, and major landmarks visible from far offshore. So these are the specialized map used by the mariners or the seafarers for the safe navigation. So especially for their long voyage. So the purpose of this, if, as I said earlier, so they're using these charts or these maps for a long voyages. So they use for the open navigation where the broad overview is more important than the detailed local features. As part of this is the planning and plotting. So essential for fixing positions and planning routes during the extended journeys. It also shows some primary navigational aids and major features that are visible from great distances. So you can see some distance navigations. So this sailing charts, it's served as an important legal records in the event of the maritime accidents, assisting in accident constructions, and also the liability assignment. So these are very important for avoiding some dangers and ensuring that the safe arrival at their destinations. So I have here now, as you can see in our screen, we have some few key characteristics of the charts. So first is the small scale. So this one, it features the smallest scale among the different types of nautical charts, meaning less detailed but greater geographic coverage. So less detail but greater geographic coverage. Another one is the broad view. So this one, it displays a wide expanse of ocean and coastline. This ideal for understanding the overall context of a long voyager or a long voyage. Another one to consider, it has a limited detail. So it only provides the essential information like the major lights, buoys, and significant landmarks rather than intricate the local features. We need to consider as well as the chart types. So while sometimes the use is interchangeable and interchangeably with the general charts, for coastal navigation, the true sailing charts is for even longer or open ocean distance. So how are we going to compare now the other nautical charts? So we have some nautical charts that we know that's very important in a maritime safety, and it vary in scale and purpose. So we have here the harbor charts. So the harbor charts show a very detailed information. So there are more detailed information for navigating within the port or the harbor. While the coastal charts, it provides more detailed than sailing charts, but less than the harbor charts. So you going to use this for near coastal navigations. So next is the general charts that we call. So this is used for passage between the coastal areas and for overall navigations. So again, so from the detailed harbor charts, so for precise maneuvering to a broad general charts for the long distance or voyage planning, they contrasting with the paper maps that shows the land features. So they're all both showing some land features. So again, the general charts, or what we call the sailing charts, this is used for the ocean or long distance planning. So they can cover the large areas with a small level of details. While the coastal charts, they provide more detail for navigating long coastline or along the coastlines, including the inlets and bays. While the harbor, it offered the most detail, covering the small areas like the ports to show docks, piers, and precise underwater features for berthing. Okay? So here I have here comparison regarding the paper versus the electronic charts. So we all know that we still have this type of traditional source of this different charts. So we have the paper charts. So they are offer more reliability as a backup. So as they do not depend on power or electronic systems, but their use is declining because some nowadays there are more on electronic. So we have here the other charts, the electronic charts. So this one, it is more dominant in modern navigations. So they are infinite scalable and offer features like integrated GPS positioning but required power. So both of these charts, we can use this or they are still very useful regarding the navigations. So if we can have this modern type navigation, which is the electronic charts, but the disadvantage of this is it requires power. So once we don't have or there will be no supply of power, you cannot access these charts. So that's why we have this as an alternative approach is the paper charts. So we can use this as our or a reliability backup. Okay? So how this charts different from the maps? First is the focus. So nautical charts are for the water, while maps primarily they show land features and topographical informations. So again, nautical charts are for the water. So the maps is for the land. Another one is the purpose of this. Charts are more critical for safe navigation and plotting courses on the water. As a function, maps do not serve. So the map doesn't serve any regarding the safe navigation, especially in the water. How about data? So charts emphasize the water depths, hazards, and aids to navigations that which you cannot found in a standard map. Because as I said earlier, the maps is primarily they show they just show a land, okay? The land features. While the water they are focused on the nautical charts are the on the more in the water. So nautical charts are for the water. So now we move on our next discussion or the next topic. It's about the identifying the safety critical information. So in maritime, it includes also the MSI or what we call the maritime safety informations. So what is this about? It tackles about the navigational warnings, the meteorological forecast, something like that, as well as the ship specific equipment status. Like for example, is the engine functioning well or the fire pump integrity. Another one is the situational awareness data from the systems like the AIS or ACE and the communication protocol like the use of SecuRite for the safety messages. So I have here the types of the safety critical information. So here I have some the types. First is the navigational safety. So this time it's about the maritime safety information or the MSI. So this is the navigational or about the meteorological warnings, forecast, and other urgent messages. So this is a broad term for the urgent safety related messages like as I said earlier, the navigational warnings, the meteorological forecast, and other vital information that ships needs to safely navigate. We also have the ECDIS, or what we call the electronic charts display and information system. So this one is it's about the safety contours and safety depth to prevent the groundings. Another is the vessel tracking data. So to identify, they uses this to identify some potential collisions and dangerous traffic situations. Another type is the operational and equipment safety. So we have here what we call the single point failure analysis. So this one, it identifies the equipment or the system whose failure could escalate a situation. So these are the information about the condition and function of a critical system and components. So this includes of understanding the single point failures. Another one is the status of a critical equipment. So this one is about the information about the operational readiness of machinery, fire pumps, and other safety critical system. Still under the operational equipment is the cargo information. So understanding the potential hazard like the oxygen absorptions or the gas release from the certain cargoes. So specific data about the cargo and those potential to shift or to absorb oxygen, these are very critical for the safety during the handling and the storage. Another types of the safety critical information is the communication safety. So the safety messages like transmitted via radio telephony using the Securite. So for important navigation or navigational and the meteorological warnings. And the last type of the safety critical information is the personal and the environmental safety. So here is under of this is the PPE requirements, knowing the correct types of the protective equipment like the helmets, gloves, and the life jacket for the specific task and environment. So it different or it differ from the task that you need for the PPE required. Another one is the emergency procedures. So for protocols for the overboard incident, fire safety, and the other emergency situations. And lastly is the health and the safety data. So these are the information on the gas monitoring and potential atmospheric hazards in cargo holds. Now is how do we identify this information? So first is about the risk assessment. So this one, they conduct a systematic analysis like the single point failure analysis and risk assessment as the part of a safety management system or what we call the SMS. So the vessel operators must identify the system or the subsystems and the other component whose failure could lead to hazardous situations. Another is the regulatory compliance. So this one, it adheres to international codes and conventions such as the SOLAS, the ISM code, and the STCW code, which mandate the safety information and management. Next is about the information systems. So, equipping the vessels with robust information system enhance the situational awareness. So, by providing the up-to-date or accurate and safety critical informations. So, this is utilize and trained crew and robust information system like the ECDIS and AIS, which is provide the very crucial data and enhance the situational awareness. Next is about the communication protocol. So that follows the established protocols for sending and receiving the safety messages via the GMDSS is what we call the Global Maritime Distress and Safety System. So this is about the critical safety information is communicated using the standard procedures. So it includes the use of the word SecuRite to prefix the safety messages in the radio telephony. And of course, it's about also the regular testing. So perform regular tests or the safety equipment like the ship security alert system or the SSAS to ensure it functions correctly. Trainings and drills as well. So this time it ensures the members are well trained to use information system and follow the standard procedures. So they can foster a culture of proactive safety. So the crew members need training to use information system. The information system effectively and to understand the safety implication of the different types of information. So the different types of information. So next is we have here the maritime safety information or what we call the MSI. So the MSI, this is the international system of broadcast providing the urgent, timely, and geographically relevant warnings and forecast to the seafarers so they can covering the navigational hazards, meteorological conditions, and search and rescue informations. So they're going to ensure the safety of life and the property at sea. So I have here some components of the MSI. So first is the navigational warnings. So navigational warnings is the urgent alerts regarding the news or regarding the new or changed navigational hazards such as the new wrecks, floating hazards, or the temporary changes that aids to navigations. So these are the alerts about the hazards to navigations, such as temporary or permanent dangers, and information on the shipping lanes. Next, another components is the meteorological information. So meteorological informations are the weather warnings. So they are like gale or the storm warnings. So they are forecasts of the relevant at the sea area in which is the vessel is navigating. So this about the weather conditions. It includes the wind, visibility, and sea states that often provided by the National Geographical Services within the designated areas or what we call the meta areas. So another component is the search and rescue. So these are the distress alerts and other urgent information related to search and rescue operations. And lastly is the other urgent safety related messages. So these can include reports of piracy, significant communication system malfunctions, or maritime regulations that affecting the ships or any other urgent informations that essential for the safety of navigation and persons at the sea. So we have here now the dissemination of MSI. So when we say dissemination, or this is the act or fact of spreading something. So how do we spread some information? So we have here the use of the navtext or the navigational telex. So this one, it is the international automated direct printing service that uses the medium frequency or the MF terrestrial radio. So the navtext, it provides the broadcast for coastal waters, generally within 250 to 400 nautical miles of the shore. So you can see here also the frequency for the international Navtex broadcast. So this one. So this is a dedicated receiver automatically prints or display a messages that filtering for those relevant to the ship's area and preset message types. We also have here now what we call the safety net. So safety net is the satellite-based service that broadcasts the MSI to ships sailing in the ocean regions. So this safety net that provides the coverage for the high sea and coastal areas that not served by the Navtex. So it's operating with the coverage of the geostationary satellite. So the safety net they uses the Inmarsat Enhanced Group call or what we call the EGC system. So this one it allows the messages to broadcast to both fixed. So they both in the Navarea and Metarea. So they use defined geographical areas. So the Inmarsat C enhance the group call or the EGC receiver an integral part of the GMDSS. So when once they receives the safety net messages automatically. So other than this, the additional primary system, the MSI may also be broadcast by a radio telephony on VHF and MF frequencies. So particularly for local or recreational vessels. So next is this one. what is this safety net provides? So the safety net, it also provides um, some navigational warnings. Like for example, the alerts about the hazards to navigate, such as the uncharted obstacles or changes fairways or fairways. Another one is the meteorological information. So weather forecasts and severe weather warnings for maritime areas. Another one is, I said earlier, we discussed the search and rescue. The search and rescue information or alerts and instructions related to the maritime in distress and rescue operations. And lastly, the other information or other urgent safety related messages. So these are the information such or resources like the International Ice Patrol, piracy warning, and other crucial updates necessarily for the safe navigation. So how this safety net works? So the MSI did provides the national and regional authorities. So including the NAVIREA and METAREA coordinators, they issue MSI via the services or the service. Next is the broadcast. So the information is sent through the Inmarsat satellite network using the enhanced group call or the EGC system. It also automatic it also have a automatic reception. So meaning the ships equipped with an Inmarsat C terminal or equivalent receive the broadcast automatically. Another one is the tailored information. So meaning that the receivers are programmed to filter and display messages relevant to the ship's current location or area operations. So this time we need to understand the skills in the maritime documents. So how do we apply this? We need to apply of the critical thinking. So we need to analyze the requirements, identify the discrepancies, and solve problems related to the document submissions. So communication effectively is also very important because clearly articulate information, answer question, and express needs to authorities or accredited agencies. It also demonstrates the digital literacy, meaning that navigate online systems for applicants or applications, appointments, and the document verification process. So skills also exhibit some organizations and attentions to detail. So you need to ensure all required documents are complete, valid, and submitted accurately. Lastly is the collaborate and manage informations. So work with licensed officers or other parties if authorized to file documents on behalf of the seafarer. So skills in maritime documents, they are referred to the both technical proficiencies gained through the trainings, experience, and soft skills like the leadership, teamwork, and communications. So these are very essential for the safety efficiencies and adaptability in a complex and global industry. So some key skills that often highlighted, it includes um, technical competencies, adherence to the international regulations. Another one is the firefighting and survival techniques, as well as the first aid and the ability to problem solving. So you need to be think critically and communicate effectively, particularly in English. So here, we have here under the technical skill. So navigational safety. So navigational safety and knowledge of the international regulation. So these are the practical and operational skills that required for a specific maritime role. Another one is the ship maintenance and technical repair. Operating and managing specialized equipment and system. Another one or lastly is the specific certification. So these are like the STCW or the standard of training certification and watchkeeping, which covers the firefighting, personal survival, and the first aid. So if we have a technical skills, we also have here what we call the soft skills. So this one, it unders the communication. So effective communication often in English. So particularly in English is vital for the safety and coordinating with the other vessels. Shore operations. Another is the teamwork and collaborations. So, this is working harmoniously and effectively with a diverse crew is crucial for a safe and efficient working environment. Under this, a soft skill is still the critical thinking and problem solving. So, the ability to analyze the situations, solve problems, and make sound decisions under pressure is very essential for the safe operations. So, still, under the soft skills is the adaptability and resilience. So, seafaring demands a flexibility to navigate changing conditions and resilience to handle the challenges. Under of this is also the cultural sensitivity, meaning to understand and respecting the different cultural background among the crew fosters positive relationships and harmonious on-board atmosphere. So you need to understand and respect the cultural culture um dif- differences. And lastly is the leadership potential. So this one is the capacity to lead and inspire others is the key skill for career progression and effective management. So now we have here some the document application process. So to determine required documents. So meaning identify the specific documents needed for your goal, whether it is applying for a job or attending training or requesting a certificate. Next is you need to gather the valid documents. So obtain the official certificates and documents from or recognized authorities such as the STCW certificates and a valid seaman's book. Next is to check the validity and completeness. So you need to ensure that all documents are current, subsisting, and that you have all necessary copies and originals and the official receipts. So we need to make sure that all your documents, even if it is complete, that they're all valid. Then after that, you need to submit to the correct authority. So follow the specific application procedure for the relevant maritime authority like the Marina for the Seaman's Book, or here in the Philippines is the TESTA for Certificate of Competency. Additional to this is the inquiries and feedbacks. So be prepared to respond to requests for additional information or the clarification from the assessing authorities. And lastly is the monitor application status. So this one you need to keep track of the application process, as incomplete or invalid documents will prevent your application from being processed. So we have here now the what we call the unwritten rules of safety. So the unwritten rules of maritime safety, which is essentially principles of the good judgment and discipline that emphasizing the staying alert, sober, and prepared by following the safety procedures and drills. So there are the key practices that include always wearing personal protective equipment like the life jackets, knowing how to handle the emergencies, and maintaining the situational awareness of the ships and the surroundings. And of course, the communicating effectively with the crew. So how to identify these informations? So first, we have here, of course, the purpose of this is to prevent the accidents and to ensure the compliance. So you need to watch for the words like cautions, warnings, dangers, and note or the word must. So you need to be attentive of these words. And next is to you need to identify the hazard. So like for the example is this risk of electric shocks or flammable materials. So after that, you need to preemptive the actions or what is the required action to mitigate the risk. So is it to wear the protective gloves, for example, like that, or secure the area? Next and lastly is the emergency response. So what is the procedure of something goes wrong or if there's an accident? Like for example, in case of fire, use the CO2 extinguisher like that. So you need to think quickly for the procedure during the emergency response. So we have here now the safety culture and awareness. So first, of course, you need to be alert. So stay aware of your surroundings, including the sea state and other vessels and any potential hazards. So you need to be alert. Next is to stay sober. So avoid alcohol or any clouded thinking as it signifies increases of risk at the sea. So as a distracted or impaired mind can be deadly at the sea. So you need to always remain sharp and avoid alcohol or other impairing substances while you are on duty. Next is to report some issues. So immediately report any malfunctions, spills, or other abnormal incidents to the crew. And lastly, be prepared for work. So always be ready for the duties and do not work while injured or sick. So it's like practicing the situational awareness. So you need to be constantly aware of your surroundings, any potential mechanical failures, spills, and other abnormal incidents on the ship. So you need to be situational aware. So here we have some rules when you are at the sea, or rules of the water, what we call like that. So first is you need to wear your life jacket. So the life jacket should be your second skin and worn whenever working over water or in situations where you might fall overboard. So always, without exception, so it's on and ready when needed. Another one is to maintain the situational awareness. So always be aware of the ships. So weather conditions and other positions of the other vessels. So you need to check your boat and safety gear. So before heading out also, you need to ensure that that boat is in good conditions, has sufficient fuel and water, and all required safety equipment is present and functioning. You need also keep a safe distance. So give other boats plenty of space to avoid collisions. And next is to respect channel. So meaning do not anchor in channels or areas that obstruct navigations. And of course, be mindful of your wake. Slow down and watch your wake to avoid creating hazards to the other vessels. So be mindful. So especially when you are near other boats and docks or shoreline. It's also like be patient and courteous, showing some consideration for others, especially at the boat ramp and or in any busy channels. So we have here some procedures and drills to follow. Follow every safety procedures. So disregarding the safety drills or unchecked equipment can lead to disasters. So you need to check and double check some safety procedures. Next is to ensure the equipment is ready. So make sure all the safety equipment such as the lifeboats and communication devices is accessible and in good working orders. Next is report trip details. So information or inform someone on shore or of your destination, the number of people on board, and your planned return time. And lastly, practice the drills. Participate in and practice the safety procedures that they may be crucial in any emergencies. So again, the procedure that we have, follow every safety procedures, ensure the equipment is ready, report trip details, and practice the drills. So these are very important procedure, of course, to make sure the safety of every crew and the safety of the vessels. Okay? So that will be all for today. We already discussed the advanced learning and some procedures and systems in maritime industry. And I hope next time in our next discussion we will having a review or some trivia quizzes. So just to recap every discussion that we discussed for you today and from the other day. Okay? So again, thank you for listening for today's English Maritime course. This is your instructor Elaine. So again, thank you and have a nice day.